people, how you all been? And welcome back! I actually uploaded on time this week, or I am going to upload on time this week. I'm going to make sure of it, and I'm pretty proud of that. Although I am recording this voiceover on the day it's supposed to go out, whilst waiting for my schoolwork to dry, so we'll see. But hopefully this has gone out on the day it's supposed to, on Tuesday. Today I am drawing some Phineas and Ferb fan art because I've been working in black and white all week and I really want an excuse to use some vibrant colours and get back to the digital and all that. Today's voice is probably going to get a little bit rambly and random because I don't really have anything specific I want to talk about, so just sit back, enjoy it, mute me if I get annoying, and have fun. Still, I'm going to try and start this video with some semblance of sense by talking about the actual art and the characters I'm drawing first. For anyone who hasn't ever seen Phineas and Ferb before, firstly, what the heck happened to your childhood? I mean, seriously, this is my childhood show. Secondly, the basic plot is basically every day of summer, two stepbrothers, Phineas and Ferb obviously, try to make the most of their summer, usually by creating some crazy invention like building a rocket, or fighting a mummy, or climbing up the Eiffel Tower, etc., whilst their sister tries to get them in trouble for being dangerous and such. The B-plot of each episode follows the two characters I'm actually drawing here, Heiner Doofenshmirtz, an evil scientist who's not really that evil and is also kind of terrible at his job, but who had all sorts of terrible things happen to him as a kid that he uses as, like, inspiration for his evil inventions. And then the other character, Perry the Platypus, who is actually a platypus in the show, and is Phineas and Ferb's pet, but doubles as a secret agent who gets to stop Doofenshmirtz from doing evil, but usually only ever after whatever kind of evil innator he's made has accidentally destroyed Phineas and Ferb's creation before their mum sees it. And honestly, I'm kind of wondering why I bothered spending the time to explain all that, given that you've either seen the show, and so know it all anyway, or you've never seen the show before and I now sound completely crazy because now that I'm trying to put it into words and say it out loud, crime-fighting platypus is a little bit out there. Oh well. But despite the craziness, it was such an excellent show. It was always like my favourite as a kid. It was the kind of comfort show that I would watch when I was off school ill, like long after I decided I was too old and like too cool to watch cartoons, which did not last long as a phase, but you know, it did happen to me. And anyway, I recently decided to rewatch it, and because I was rewatching it, I was looking at the Instagram posts under the tags for it and stuff, and I came across something that I have technically seen before, but it's not something I'd seen in a while, and that was all the different fan arts for drawings of human version Perry, which are a lot more consistent than you'd think. And so I got reading some fanfics, I read some post descriptions, and got super inspired to create my own human Perry creation, and that's what this is. Now, there are a number of variations of human Perry to be inspired by, because if he isn't a platypus, he obviously has to be related to the Flynn Fletcher family in some way, and that kind of changed the dynamic with his whole family, and also affects things like his age and his backstory, and you're basically adding a lot of complexity and depth to an initially much more simple character. In the actual show, Perry is solely defined by his interactions with Doofenshmirtz, the OWCA that he works for, and then very occasionally he interacts with, like, a couple members of Doof's family, or you get to kind of see what happens when Phineas and Ferb get too close to Doofenshmirtz and he freaks out a little bit. And that's kind of the extent of it, because the rest of the time he's pretending to be a platypus and they don't do much. So he's protective of his family, he's mildly amused by Doof's incompetence, and that is about it. So I personally chose to translate this into an Uncle Perry situation, which is kind of a common one. The common ones tend to be Uncle Perry or Big Brother Perry. Although occasionally you get like Family Friend Perry or just like Random Neighbour Perry, but those are the ones that I've come across most commonly. I chose Uncle Perry, specifically the idea that he is Lawrence Fletcher's adopted brother, which would allow him to be a bit freer with like which age differences I pick and like his physical design, and also it makes him British, so you know, I just feel like that should be a thing. I also went for Mute Perry, who kind of uses sign language but only rarely or around people he trusts, to mimic the fact that in the show Perry doesn't talk and like at all, and so it makes it easy to reimagine like scenes and things from it without having to drastically change how the scene would go if Perry was actually going to respond to people's input into the conversation, other than just like nodding and pointing and etc, etc. This is what happens when you put an anthropomorphic platypus and try changing him into a human being. But anyways, the big one that you all actually care about, that I'm finally getting to, is of course the physical design of both characters really, because adapting these guys into my style was easier said than done for both of them. Perry's bright colour palette was probably one of the main reasons I even started this piece, but other than his colours and his little fedora hat, I could basically draw him any way I liked because, you know, he's a platypus. I did try to take some of his core character element thingamabobblies into account though, so like his cartoon self is quite rectangular, so I wanted to make him kind of short and stocky. Actually, there's a surprising number of like fics and character designs of trans Perry, which I could totally get behind. I'm kind of leaving this ambiguous because it's just a character design, but I thought that was pretty cool. He's kind of got a little bit of fluff on the top of his head, and so naturally I wanted to give him very fluffy hair. And fun fact, his hair has already become a topic of great debate on my account, in that in the, like, few hours since I posted to my Instagram, somebody has already commented and gone, wait a second, he doesn't have a fedora on. That's not Perry, that's just a regular human. And Doof would have no idea who he really is, which is a fair point, but the floofy hair. I really wanted to draw the floofy hair. Like, it's such a bright colour, and it's got such a fun texture, and if I was to put a hat on it, it would kind of just take away from all of that, so floofy hair. In fact, hair was kind of one of the most difficult bits for both characters, because not only can I not get the texture of Perry's hair quite right, and it's still probably not quite the way I want it, but Doof's hair obviously needs some big changes from the cartoon, as his head isn't quite so triangular here. And so it kind of had to be messy and spiky, but cover more of his head. So I kind of just figured I'd go like completely mad scientist with it, even if that does mean it's probably like a little bit too long for the character, but I was just like, spiky hair, every direction, let's go for it, what could possibly go wrong? Perry's clothes were much easier, as people seem to have kind of standardised a look across the internet as to what Perry looks like. There's the teal shirt, and then a yellowy-orange kind of coloured tie, and then, you know, people can choose to add a waistcoat or some fingerless gloves, and that's kind of the variations. I've watched far too much Torchwood to want to cover up an opportunity for putting suspenders on to cover it up with a waistcoat, so that got rid of. But the gloves are always cool, and so I added the gloves, and I remembered to add his little watch. I also switched out the tie for a scarf, which I've not seen anybody else do before, but I'm sure somebody has done it before. Just because I felt like, shape-wise, it better copied like what his tail looks like, and then I could put the pattern on, and it kind of made more sense than the weird crisscrossy tie. I don't know, I just liked it better. Also, it's a small detail, but I was really proud of his little Agent P belt buckle, because I spent about 3 minutes sat there trying to remember what the, like, if he had a symbol or, like, a little logo, and then I finally remembered, yeah, he's got platypus feet on literally everything he owns. And so I did that. I was also super professional with this piece, in that I did a whole colour test before I started the lineup, which you've probably already seen go past by now. But I was just weirdly proud of adding that. Maybe it's the art school rubbing off on me, but, like, I was just proud that I had, like, a whole processy thing going on, you know? Now, I did warn you that this video was probably going to get a little bit rambly, and I'm just gonna, like, add this in here because I don't think I'll get another opportunity to talk about it. But obviously, I rewatched Phineas and Ferb, and as I was going through the posts, I was reminded that something called Milo Murphy's Law exists. Now, I'd never seen it before, so I kind of just assumed it was made by the same creators and wasn't really in the same universe in the same way. But then I found out there's a Phineas and Ferb crossover, so like the hyper-focusing, super-obsessed person I am, I decided, you know what, I'm going to watch this entire series just to see that one crossover episode. And obviously the crossover was great. I have mixed feelings about Doofenshmirtz being in all of season 2, because on the one hand, I think actually the show could stand perfectly well on its own without him, but on the other hand, he's my favourite character, so... But as I was watching it, I discovered 2 characters that I had not come across before, and obviously I hadn't come across them before, I'd never seen the show before, and I just absolutely fell in love with them, and that was, of course, Cavendish and Dakota. Now, if you've not watched Milo Murphy's Law, this is going to sound a bit crazy, but if you have, basically Cavendish and Dakota are an example of basically my favourite ship dynamic ever. Like, so it's like friends to lovers, but with more like, I met you and you were kind of weird, and then I got to know you, and actually you're really annoying, and I don't want to spend any time around you, but we're forced to spend time together, and okay, maybe I don't hate you, maybe I actually care for you, and then kind of progresses to, you know what, actually you're the closest person I have, because everybody else has abandoned me, and I would absolutely die for you, but no, I don't love you, oh wait, I love you, oh wait, you love me too, and just like, it's like disgruntled friendship to romance, and it is my favourite ship dynamic ever. It is basically the same ship dynamic that Kakashi and Guy have from Naruto, only theirs has more, like, trauma and dead friends in it. And it's just beautiful, and Dakota with his whole Dakota Island thing, I was like, Oh, I love that ship so much, and I just felt like I had to mention that here. I was kind of tempted. I would almost finish this piece by the time I'd kind of got a decent way through Milo Murphy's Law, and I was kind of tempted to just scrap it all so that I could draw Cavendish and Dakota instead. And I'm glad I didn't, because I'm actually really proud of the way I've drawn Perry here. But, ooh, please expect those characters to be coming back, because they're my new obsession. And there's just, it's something so wacky and wonderful about that kind of relationship dynamic. I love it. So yeah, I told you this was going to get a bit weird and rambly. In fact, that was quite a short ramble. I'm proud of myself. It was only a couple minutes. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment about either what you liked, what you didn't like, or what you'd like to see in the future. If you've got time, obviously subscribe. That would be brilliant. And obviously, if you've got tips on how I can be less rambly or make more pleasant voiceovers, please do, because I feel like that's my biggest area of improvement needed with these videos. But yeah, I will hopefully see you in 2 weeks' time, next Tuesday. The Tuesday after next, even. Oh my gosh, my brain. Have a good day, all of you, and I will see you later. Bye!